Alright, this video is on Design CAD 3D Max Plus. I'm going to give some, really pretty much I'm going to just stay right here in the line tool, what you can do with it, how you can edit it, how you can draw it. So right there, there's a few options here, the parallel by, parallel to, and then perpendicular to and perpendicular from, and then some lines that you can draw to circle tangents. And there's the sketch, and there's the tick marks. So let's just start with that right now. So anytime you draw with this program, it creates a polyline. You don't have to tell it PL, like AutoCAD is L, and this is in PL, this is just V. So the shortcut is V, and in right here you can see those points, and when I hover over it, it turns the crosshair. So once you're over that, you right click. Actually, let's go right here, Control right click, use right click gravity snap. So either that'll, if you don't, it'll give you this menu. So I like it on, and then right click, it'll snap to the gravity points. Then we have M, will snap to the middle. I'm in right here, midpoint. M2 will snap to the middle of those 2 points. All right, V, midpoint, tell it which points you want, it'll snap to the middle. So that's kind of a useful tool. And then gravity snap, I think gravity snap is just to the points, right? So V, and then I can left click and it'll gravity snap. You could also turn on the enable disable running snaps, which will snap to V. It'll snap to left clicking, it'll snap. Running snaps on. Oh yeah, I must have turned it off. So let's go to options. You can also type in just Q, and it'll bring up the options, and then go to general. And then we have, what am I looking for? Snap, right? No. Options, toolbox, cursor. What am I looking for? No, I think I'm in the wrong place. Here we go. Options, interruptible snap. Then we hit that, we'll get the interruptible snap. Options, running snap settings. So I turned off gravity because I used the left click. I turned off the nearest because you can type K for a shortcut. And then midpoint, I left it on, and intersect snap's good. So, and then tangent snap, I just used the tangent line command. So V, what was I going to say? Right click, right? Instead of the gravity snap. And then snap to the center, I can just do that. Like, let's say I'll hover over that line and hit it, left click, and it'll snap to the center. Pretty useful. And then, what was the other one that I was looking at? Snap settings, nearest. Yeah, I use K and the gravity snap. So V, if you just want to get anywhere close to that. So, and this is kind of useful. Let's say I'm over here and I wanted to extend out to this way and snap. Let's say J, and then let's just go to another setting. So delete that. V, enter like that. I can just click on it, and now that it's highlighted, I can click anywhere I want on there and add vertex points. And then I can just close that polyline. So it's very useful. There's no complicated, AutoCAD's kind of complicated. We got, let's say H will turn on and off the ortho. If I hit H again, it takes it out. H again, it puts it back into ortho. Pretty nice. V, let's go H, turn that off. J, there's some J, brings up custom in the line command. It'll bring up some options. So the shortcut key for 30 degrees is 3, 4, 6, brings you up all these shortcuts for those degrees. And then you have, so let's just give you an example. J4 will give you 45 degrees, locks it in at 45 degrees, right? So then you could actually go JD and say 60, and it'll give you a 60 long line up. And forgot you can't, you have to hit insert or, so there's a little caveat there. JC, bring in a 45, or you could use the shortcut that we talked about. And it says release angle on fixed point. So after this, after we hit that point, it's not going to be fixed on that angle anymore. So JD will say 60, enter, and then I have to click something, right click it, left click it, or something, or hit insert to close that command for it to continue. So it's a little fuzzy because other ones don't work quite the same way. So then you got your option. So you could just go J, V. Let's say you want to lock it down in the V vertical line position, and then J, and then you could go AA, angle away from 2 points, or angle away from, so this is N, so these shortcuts, same as a line. Let's do that one first. Same as a line. All right, it'll bring me out same as that. JAA will bring me up, I've got it set to 90. I can set it to that line, even though that line's not created, it still sees it. And then hit K, and then JN will give me an angle away from 2 points, about 30 degrees. Enter, and I want it off of this line. And if you hit the wrong one, you just hit escape. It'll give me a line 30 degrees from there. JN, and JN, since we just did that, I could go there again. Gives me 30. Wonder why it went. Oh yeah, because it goes in a clockwise direction, right? Positive 30. I said negative 30. It would go delete, and then hit that. We go the other way, right? Too complicated. So B, J, N would give me 30 degrees from those 2 points, right? Wherever that line is, and doesn't have to be connected to the vertex, right? Boy, let's see, V, there's my line, and I'm going to start a line 30 degrees, so it'll be JAA 30, all right, enter. I'm over here, I can still get 30 degrees from that line, even though it's not connected. JN, those 2 points, right? And then I could say J, could go V, J, S, same as that line, right? V, J, there's a couple more. Commands open, J, custom angle. So one of the nice things about custom angle is H, I'll turn it off. Now I'm going to set this J custom angle. I can say A tan, open parenthesis 7 divided by 11, close parenthesis, enter, and it'll lock me in at 7 or 11. V, point relative 11, enter, point relative tab 7, enter, and enter, and then you can see that that's exactly what the angle that I got there. And if you go V, JC, V, JC, you can see it says to the thousandth of a foot, thousandth of a degree, but since I typed in the formula, it's even more accurate than that. So there's that. And arctangent is rise over run. You could actually do like 30 degrees. Let's say VHJC, a sine 0.5, just 0.5 divided by 1. You know, the arc sine of 0.5 is 30 degrees. And then it gives you 30 degrees. Alt MA gives you the angle. Shortcut for dimension angle. Angle dimension. Dimang. Let's see what else we got in here. V, oh, you know, so V, we can stretch this line by hitting shift underline, which is right next to the 0, because it's not shift underline, it's shift dash, which brings up the underline command, and you can extend or shorten that anywhere you want. And if you release it, it'll release from this point perpendicular to that point, right? They're at 90 degrees, so snap it there. Alt MA, right there. K, brings it, snaps it to my line. Done. Delete, and then Control. Let's see, we bring back that stringer. I was going to use something for something else. B, H, all right, enter. So I got the let's just show you scale. It gives you the option from the selection handle or from the selection center. So one's going to scale it from there. We go 2, 2. It's going to select it from the center, right? See, bam, enter. It selected that and it scaled it from the center. If I go like this, there's a handle, scale, 0.5, tab 0.5 from the selection handle. It'll enter. It'll scale it from the point that you select. I can collect this. Let's do this here. Let's just make this so it's a little bit more interesting, right? So Control H. I can select this here. Turn off. See the cursor's locked in horizontal ortho. Select it there, and I can. Those are called control handles. Control H. And then I select the handles that I want, and I can rotate it. I don't have to tell it I'm rotating. And if I wanted that, the custom angle J, C, A10. Or no. Let's just go 60 degrees, and it locks it in at 60 degrees, right? So Alt M A H 60 degrees. See? So there's it works with objects too. So if we had a rectangle, usually you're doing an object. And then just so you know, this one here, you can align it to anything you want. So right there, J, C, 45, enter. It locks in at the 45-degree angle. And then I can bring it up that way. Say it's a little tricky trying to get this distance. So if you go up here, you're not sure, you got the angle and that's the start. You can go back to here and click the perpendicular with the question mark is perpendicular from, and say 12, and then enter. And then I would just snap down here, right? And then Control C, Control V, and then just snap those down like that. Maybe a better way to do that, delete. Yeah, and the way I would do it is I would just create this box. I'd say it's align it with, just bring it in horizontal and go say point relative with the apostrophe. Enter point relative apostrophe, and then 20, tab 12, enter. And it just draws that 20 over 12 up, right? And then I would just take that box, put some handles on it, Control H, left click, and then click back here to tell it that I want to move it. After you set the handles, you click it a third time, it activates the movement command of the selection move, and then J, C, 22.5 degrees, enter. And it locks it in at 22.5, Alt M A. All right, so there's some quick commands. I really did it with an object because it works for lines too. Easier to illustrate. So if you got a line there, enter. You can change the width of it by hitting the line here, changing it to say 80, and then change it to dashed. Hit OK, and then you have to hit apply while it's highlighted, and it'll highlight that and change it the way you want it. You could change the scale to 6 or 4, 5. Enter, and it'll change, and then you hit apply. Change the scale. Delete, and it remembers what you're working with too. So it can bring you, if you're not sure which, you just come back and say, okay, V. And I don't want that thick line no more. I want just a regular old highlight control line that I can see, and then hit solid and then hit apply. Right? So usually when I draw objects, I draw the objects with heavier lines, and my lines that are connecting and working with to create the drawing will be in 0 width lines. You can change the color. You go over here, hit blue, and hit apply. You have to go a little bit slow It's kind of like AutoCAD. If you click on the things that you want it to do and move away too fast, it will it won't see what you're trying to do. It won't catch on. You move too fast, it won't actually select what you're trying to tell it to do. So if we select that and we hit we want to change the color to something else, we can hit this finger arrow and then change it to purple and then hit apply. Or if you wanted to change it black, you could just do this same thing here and then hit that, and it does it. There's no hit apply, it just automatically does it. And if you want it, you could just change the color here to blue, hit OK, and it changes it to blue. Delete, and then if you want layers, so if you got layers, so you can see that the layers are started out here. Right, you got some colors. If you click this and you go right into that layer, hit OK. Everything's going to be created in the layer there for, which is blue. V, enter, it's going to be blue. And what would you want to do? If you wanted to change this, you can't change it here. You have to change it by the layer, because it's draw by layer, or you can come down here and you can tell it color by layer, I don't want that anymore, and then it'll give you the option to change it to a different color. You can change it like that. Otherwise, sometimes you get drawings and the things are locked in the layer and you're trying to figure out how to change the colors because it's coming out gray. You can go down there and turn that off. Right here was color by layer, and then you could also do line style by layer. Sometimes you'll have, let's say L, enter, and then we look at line type style. Maybe it was center line. Okay, so it will draw my, if I'm in layer 5, okay, it'll create everything in enter in a center line in blue. But the same thing, if you want to edit that, then you just got to come in down here and you got to turn off color by layer and it's line style by layer, and you don't need to have area info on, but you could. And then hit that, and then it's modifiable. You could change it back to black, and you could change the okay. You can change the line style, solid, or you can change it to anything you want. So it's already on the drawing. Just got to remember and uncheck those. So let's see, we're looking pretty good. Yeah, okay, it's a long video, but it's the most popular command you're ever going to use if you draw. So we have, I'm going to give you the key commands. I create a few here. I'd like the snap settings on because I don't like them on all the time. I like the dynamic snap here, or the running snap with just a couple. Like I said, the shortcut key for closest is K instead of nearest, because if you have nearest, it's always running the nearest. It's a big pain in the butt, just like in AutoCAD. It's hard to turn on. I use the right click and bring down the menu and then hit nearest if I want that command. All right, and then that's pretty much it. I can tell you that was a lot of commands. What else would we know? Oh yeah, so V, let's say we had another line there, enter. Let's go back to layer 0, layer 1. And then let's change the line type to B. So now I'm locked in. So let's go back to layer. I thought I changed it to 1. Gotta hit it 3 times. B, enter. They're not created by the layer, they just happen to be in that setting. So we could just go like this, right? And then V, I want it to be where these two join up. I could hit it where it's called intersection, right? Where they intersect. And then I could hit that line and that line. Oh, no. V, intersect to this line, and it brings me to the intersection of those two. All right, just like that. And then let's change this back to solid. About V, if you had, let's say, draw control line, draw line, control line, enter, and then V, we could snap the center of gravity, I think, from that object there. Nope, not so. If it was a plane, edit, selection edit, convert, make plane. So now if we hit gravity snap V, still snap into the points. Let's turn off the dynamic snap, running snap, interruptible snap, turn those off. V, gravity, nope. Let's try this. I'm not sure if I'm barking up the wrong tree. Gravity. Yeah, it's just giving me the points. It would be, oh, here you go, center of gravity. So V is center of gravity, and there has to be a plane edit, selection edit, convert, make plane. I have that in a different custom bar, V, and then hit center of gravity. It'll snap to center of gravity. So let's change that a little bit. So you had some weird shape like that. And then you hit center of gravity, V, CG, just snap to the center of gravity. All right, that's kind of a useful tool. All right, so that's a lot of stuff for a quick video in it. Well, I hope that helps you learn how to draw using this program. It's a great drawing program. It doesn't do data so well as AutoCAD, but sure does draw pretty well. And there's probably a ton more things you can do with it in that one setting, but extending a line, trimming a line, oh yeah, so V, enter, E will trim, and then E will trim this to there, and then E will trim it to there, Control Z. So if you go E and you're on this side, this is the line that I'm going to cut to. Like AutoCAD, you would select this line and hit enter, and you'd select this line, and it would trim to that, right? Like that. This is kind of backwards. If you go E, it'll trim shorter end automatically, or I like trim pick segments. So there's that. And then E also extends it, right? So if I click this line and this line, it extends the first one to the second one, vice versa. Trim it, extend it. It's both, or the letter E. Hope that helps in your career, and thanks for watching.